Welcome to Thinking Green. I'm Rana, and I'm here tonight with Lisa Dabrowska and Stephanie Johnson. And I'm sure all of you who are watching this show have been reading the newspaper stories about the lockout at L&M and hospital, and know a little bit about the events that led up to it. But we're going to go into it in a little bit more depth, I think, tonight. So welcome, Lisa and Stephanie.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Either one of you can start, but I just wanted to give everyone an idea of what your jobs are at the hospital and also what the jobs of the people you're representing are.
Well, I'm the LPN Tech President, and I represent about 250 members, and we range, I'm a sleep tech by profession, so I represent the sleep techs, all of radiology, which is MRI, ultrasound, nuclear medicine, respiratory therapy, and non-invasive cardiology techs. I also represent the coders who do the billing for the hospital.
And what about you?
I'm a nurse at the hospital. I am the president of the Nurses Union. I represent about 520 nurses. I've been working at L&M for approximately 10 years. The first year that I worked there, I was a nurse's aide. Then I became an RN, and I've been working there ever since.
So I guess things, I mean, this is the first strike ever, or your strike, lockout, the whole job action. This is the first time ever that this has happened at Lawrence and Memorial. So could you give a little bit of background, like how we got to this point?
Want to take that?
Sure, absolutely. We knew from probably the summertime, midsummer, that this negotiation session was not like the usual negotiation sessions, and that this was going to be a little more contentious. We were notified mid-July by the mayor, actually, telling us that the corporation had reached out to him looking to use Ocean Beach for a staging area for scab nurses should the nurses in the tech union go on strike in November. So that really raised a lot of eyebrows with us.
Yeah, especially since you've never gone out on strike.
Exactly. We want to say thank you to the mayor for doing the right thing and not only telling the hospital no, but also coming and letting us know what they had planned. So from there, that kind of set everything up. And going into negotiations, we kind of knew what we were expecting. We didn't make a lot of headway. The hospital kind of played games with the negotiation dates, saying that they would meet, and then not meeting on days when we could meet, and there was a lot of game playing, and we saw that things weren't going very well, and we saw that things weren't going very well very quickly. So we still held out. We attempted to, we still bargained in good faith, and finally around November 14th, we took a vote to strike. The contract actually expired on November 16th, so November 14th was a Thursday prior, and the 16th was a Saturday. So we took a vote. An overwhelming supermajority of the nurses and the techs both came out and voted, and overwhelming supermajority of that overwhelming supermajority voted that they were in favor of a strike. Now, what we were striking about, as the hospital may have you know, or excuse me, may have you thinking, is that we want 100% job security. And that, I want to be very clear, is not the case whatsoever. No. We want to be able to follow the work. And what I mean by this is if a service that's performed inpatient traditionally by bargaining unit members is moved off campus for whatever reason, we understand healthcare is changing, we understand it's a new environment, there's so much going on many levels. We understand that that this is moving, so we want to just be able to move with the work. We have pictures of the hospital moving the furniture over from one site to the next site. The hospital certainly moving the patients from one site to the next site. We want to go and we want to be able to take care of our patients, whether it be at the main campus or whether it be a couple of blocks down the road, whether it be in Rhode Island. I mean, we just want to follow the work. And I think Stephanie can give a great example because
I'm the perfect example. In 2009, the hospital made a decision that for patient care, they wanted to move the sleep lab from the hospital setting into a hotel. It was going to be more comfortable, it was going to be cheaper, it was going to be more practical for the patient. So they decided that they wanted to move that. When they moved that service, they took the staff with it. And that's all we're asking to do, is to be able to go wherever they're taking our patients, so that we can perform the same quality work that we've historically performed for over 101 years.
Right, so that's an example of how it was done right. And Stephanie is a perfect example of that. Now, what they did wrong is last year they outsourced to themselves the behavioral health department, and they also outsourced the OBGYN clinic, obstetrician gynecologist department. And they moved the furniture, they moved the patients, but they did not move the staff. They laid off the staff, and they brought in new staff that was less qualified at obviously a lower rate of pay. And we feel, along with the National Labor Relations Board, that this is illegal. So when
Is the new staff part of the bargaining unit, or are they?
No, they are not.
Not at all.
They are not.
They're not union.
No, and we see this as an attempt to try to sidestep the
Okay,
collective bargaining agreement that we both represent.
Yeah. So we went to the Labor Board, and we gave all the Labor Board all of our evidence. And we explained to them what was going on, why that we think it's illegal, and they agreed with us. So they did a comprehensive investigation. It took them over 6 months to do this, and at the very end, they issued a complaint, which we can liken to an indictment. So that came out, I would say, early fall, late summer-ish, and now we're waiting for the sentencing. So the trial was actually supposed to take place in October, but as we all know, the government shut down, and it has been now kicked back to January. So while we're waiting for their sentencing and their arraignment, if you will, the hospital has made no bones about wanting to move more services and more work. So that's a problem. We think that it's illegal. The Labor Board thinks that it's illegal. And the whole issue is that we wanted to go and take a 4-day strike vote, and go and do a protest for 4 days and show the corporation that runs this community hospital that we are going to stand up, and we do not want the patients to be treated like numbers. We want to be able to care for them, and we want to be able to care for them in whatever environment they may find themselves in. So,
And for all of the employees to be Lawrence Memorial employees.
absolutely, absolutely. And not a shell corporation employee that can be moved around at will, that has no rights, that is, an employee
Has
at
the
will.
same benefits but pays more for them, gets paid less. It's a mess. What they've done is they've taken the work and they've now given it to people who are less qualified, because when you receive care from an RN is somebody who, if there is an emergency, can save your life. If you give that same care to somebody who is like a medical assistant, that medical assistant has to call somebody to save your life. That's the difference in the care that you're getting. Now, we'd be okay with them having it if it was like a cost savings to the patient, but it's not. It's still going to cost you the same money getting that service that we provided for you at a higher level to get somebody that can't do as much for you. And it really does come down to, we're in healthcare. We're not making factory pieces, we're not making cars, we're saving lives. Moments count in that time. So it's really the best care that we can give you with the scope of practice that we have. It's just higher than that, what they're offering in this shell corporation. So that's one of our biggest problems, is that. And then there's the access. Our patients are used to coming to the hospital. Many people in New London live on the bus line or make it to get to the bus line. They've now taken these offices that were in the hospital, and they're not offices, they were hospital-based setting. They've now moved them into an office setting, and they're moved all over. It's a traveling circus. They
Now,
are.
where are the different locations? I can't keep track.
There's so
of it.
many of them. And you would think we would know, because it's the same employer, so you would think we would know. But it starts in East Lyme, and it ends as far as well, now I hear we're
Now
going to
Westerly.
Westerly. So, if you're somebody who's receiving behavioral health services, you used to go to Pond House, or you used to go to the outpatient treatment center in Pond House. Now God only knows,
Waterford.
it could be East Lyme, it could be Waterford, it could be Stonington, and it's at a different location every single day. So now these are some of our sickest patients that we actually have to make sure stay on their medications, have regular visits with their doctors. So this is about not just receiving quality care, but access to that same quality care for the patients.
Now, you mentioned they might be at different places at different days. Does it follow naturally that they're going to be seeing different people every time they come?
Yes.
Yes.
There's no continuity of care.
So for someone who needs to have their med taking watched, seeing someone different every day isn't
Exactly.
going to really provide that level of oversight.
Exactly.
There's also an element of trust in that type of care. It's important that the patient actually trust the caregiver and have a rapport with the caregiver, and that's not going to happen if they're seeing a new person every week.
You know, I have to say, when Mr. Cummings first got here in 2005, you know, one of the first things that he tried to tell us was that he wanted us to address patients as customers. And for all of us, this was a very bitter pill to swallow. None of us give customer service. What we provide is patient care. And, you know, people will say, well, customer service is always a really good thing to do. When you're giving quality patient care, it's engulfed in that. We give customer service. We're kind. We're empathetic. That's all what we do. We're healthcare providers, and as I said before, we're not building a car. You know, we're taking care of people who are sick, who are vulnerable, who need us when they need us the most. So, you know, I don't give customer service. I deliver patient care.
Right, and service, I mean, when you think about service, you go and get your car serviced. Service is, you know, is a transaction. Care is it's all-encompassing. It's the whole. It's you care for someone from, you know, from soup to nuts, from head to toe. You don't just, you know, perform a service. Here's your pill. Okay, goodbye. We want to care for these people. We don't want to just treat
And
them
I
like a
see a
number.
parallel because my own field, I'm retired now, but was education.
Absolutely.
And we're seeing the same thing. When I was on the New London Board of Ed, the mission statement, it was very controversial, and I think it did pass in the end, but one of the pieces of the mission was to provide good customer service.
Yeah, children aren't customers.
Yeah.
They're
Right,
children.
and I'm thinking even the families who were more referred to as customers, it seemed like, yes, well, we do want to be responsive, but that word and just didn't seem to fit.
It's cold. It's a cold word.
It's a corporate word.
Big business has no business in a community hospital.
You got
None
it.
whatsoever. This is not a corporation. This is a community hospital. And it is vital that we not let our services that we provide be treated like a chop shop where, you know, I'm going to send this over here and I'm going to send this over here and, you know, you guys will just scatter to get it. It really just, it cheapens what we do. And, you know, we understand that healthcare is changing, the landscape is changing. But just because it's changing doesn't mean that it has to be less for people. And that's what we're fighting for, to make sure that our patients receive outstanding quality care. Accessible, outstanding quality
So even
care.
if things get decentralized, you can still provide consistent care.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Now, do you think the fact that it's a community hospital has contributed to the fact that you seem to have gotten a lot of support from the community?
We are overwhelmed with the amount of support from the community.
It's been incredible.
It's been amazing. I mean, people stop by the picket line every day. People, you know, fellow labor community leaders, you know, fellow neighbors come and say, let me offer my basement. Let me bring you some coffee. You want to tell a
food.
story about the Union Hall when the lady came in.
So of course we're having our first strike ever and our bathroom breaks. So we have to get a porta potty in the back for us to have access to the facilities. So our neighbor across the street came down, and the timing couldn't have been better. The day was interviewing me, and she came in just to offer her basement because it was rainy, it was cold, and she wanted to make sure that the caregivers at L&M had a place to come in, to get warm, to rest, to use the bathroom if they needed it, and she wanted us to know that she supported us in every way. And, you know, when we saw the neighbors for the first couple of hours, we were like, we're sorry for the noise. And they were like, no, you guys are the good neighbors. It's the hospital that's the bad neighbor. What they're doing to you guys is not right, and that we're not going to stand for. Make as much noise as you need to. So, and she said, well, I'll come out and shout with you.
That was amazing. And here we thought she was going to complain.
Yeah, because I was like, I'm sorry about the noise. That was me on the microphone.
As well as the neighbors, though, the thing that's spoken the biggest volumes to me is that patients have stopped by.
Yeah.
And patients have come by and said, thank you for caring for me. Keep up the good work. Keep strong. Stay strong. Don't let them walk all over you.
And I'm not going to go back in there until you go back in there.
Right. And they've actually said that they appreciate us sticking up for them. And that speaks volumes to me. I mean, if my friends stop by, that's one thing. But if someone who actually has received care there from some people on the picket line saying, we want you, I think that's just amazing.
Absolutely.
Well, I think that does go along with it being a community hospital. And I know that our experience with a hospital is mostly dealing with people who have received care. But every so often, because it's in our community, we have dealt with administration as when they decide to build that parking lot. And the attitude that we received at that time was not very sympathetic to the neighbors. So, you know, when you have a close relationship in any way with the personnel of the hospital, you get to see what their attitude is towards you.
I think it's very important that the community understands that the people who are in control of this corporation that runs our community hospital are not from this area. I was born at that hospital. All of my family was born at that hospital. My entire family lives in New London. I live 1 block behind the hospital. And what the hospital doesn't understand is that New London is not going to stand for its community hospital being taken from them. You know, it is where my grandfather, who's 83, goes to get his care. It's where all of my aunts and uncles go. And you have to almost be from New London or the surrounding areas to understand how strong New London is and how much we are committed to making sure that New London stands strong. And that's what we've been getting from the community. They've been coming behind us going, you know what, we're not going to take this from these carpetbaggers. And we may have started that term, but New London seems to have picked it up. So.
Well, I think part of the issue is that, you know, the hospital owns a lot of property. It's off the tax rolls. Heaven knows that we who live in New London
are
pay
enjoying the tax
high,
benefit.
Yeah, we pay high property taxes
Absolutely.
because we help subsidize nonprofits that serve the entire region. And in general, I don't think we mind, but we do expect those nonprofits to give us something in return in terms of being a good neighbor.
Absolutely,
Right.
and what they're trying to do is, you know, with the chance, with the job security proposal that we have out there, they're looking to decimate our unions by about 75%. And that's local people who live in this area, in this town and the surrounding areas. That's a lot of people to put out of work. And, you know, we're just not going to stand for it. So we're here and we'll continue to tell Bruce Cummings and all of his cronies that we're not going to stand for it. We're fighting for our members, we're fighting for our patients, and we're not going anywhere. We set up tents today.
You raised a very good point when you said, you said it's a not-for-profit organization, and many people know that it's a not-for-profit organization, but you don't really think about it. That they don't pay taxes to the state, to the city of New London. They use the water, the sewer, the facilities, everything. It's almost a burden on the city. And the fire department. And now they're going around and they're scooping up other buildings around this area, and that's putting the residents at more of a disadvantage. And it seems like this hospital corporation has come in, or I should say the corporation that is currently running the hospital has come in and taken complete advantage of this hospital and its surroundings, and we're not going to stand for it. So bringing it back to where we are today, we wanted to do this 4-day protest, and we wanted to make what's known as an unconditional offer to return to work on Saturday at 11 o'clock at night. So what happened is when we went to make that unconditional offer to return to work, the hospital took the position, which we find to be very childish and irresponsible, by saying, no, we're not going to allow you to come back to work. And it's almost like a little kid, you do this, so I'm going to do this back to you. And it's very childish and it's very irresponsible.
It was anticipated.
It was anticipated. It was anticipated after we had called for the strike vote, but we weren't sure how it was going to work out, because it's actually illegal for an employer to lock out an unfair labor practice strike. So what we have done, we filed charges back with the labor board, and I was actually there all day today and yesterday testifying so that the labor board can issue what's known as an injunction and basically stop the strike and put us all back to work. So that's kind of where we're at right now with that. And I'm hopeful that this will happen sooner rather than later. As it is, the hospital has done this illegal thing and has locked us out while we're on an unfair labor practice strike. We are able to enjoy the benefits of unemployment, and we are able to also be lucky enough to have labor leaders around that can hook us up with United Way. I want to thank Sharon Pacini for all of her hard work. We had a rapid response team come here from the unemployment office. We have on Tuesday at noontime, we have a COBRA representative coming from Boston to explain how that works to people.
Next
So-
week, we also have, we are setting up a hardship fund where we're getting donations from labor, from the community, from everywhere. People have just come down and said, here's $20, go buy yourself some coffee or use it to help somebody. So, you know, AFT decided that we'd take it on a grander scale to help those employees who really are going to face hardships. It is the holidays.
This is a terrible time
It's a
of year
horrible
for
time.
this to happen.
It's a horrible time of year for
And
this
they
to
know it,
happen.
too.
And they absolutely
They know
know
it.
it. You know, they're not thinking about who it is that they're doing. And they're also forgetting, we're coming back. It's not like you're going to keep us out of the building. You can't permanently replace us. We are coming back, and at some point, this relationship has got to get back on the tracks because it's completely off now. You know, we've got to still work together, and we're not going anywhere. So, you know, the sooner the hospital ends this lockout, because let's be real, they are the ones who are in control of the lockout. You know, we struck because they were doing illegal things. So they punished us because they were doing illegal things. At any time, they can end this, stop wasting patient care dollars fighting us. They can stop having people in the building who are giving suboptimal care, because we know that's what's happening. You know, there's a little thing that's happening where people forget there are 2 other unions still in that hospital that are our sisters and brothers and tell us what's going on. So we're fully aware of what's going on. They're telling you it's business as normal? Absolutely not. Absolutely
I
not.
heard their patient count is very low right
It's
now.
ridiculously low. If you, listen, as somebody who works for the hospital, I actually use the credit union there, so, you know, you go to the hospital, you never find a parking spot. You have to park in East Chippepe to get a parking spot. So to go there and to see the parking lot, it says it all. And to be quite honest, I've seen the parking lot, I've seen the same cars there, so I wouldn't put it past the corporation for hiring some beat-up cars and just keeping there and moving them around. Because, you know, they have out-of-state plates, and it's a big show. We know that they are not running at full steam, and they're trying to make everybody who's out on the street feel badly. We're aware. We're completely aware.
Now, assuming that there is eventually an injunction happens and you go back to work and you go back to the table, what do you see as other, in addition to, you know, restoring a bond of trust, but what do you see as the concrete issues that have to be worked out?
The concrete issue, it's never been about wages and benefits, never ever. And we actually made the statement, we've made the statement many times. We made the statement in the last round of negotiations, you know, we are willing to work with them, whatever they want to provide with us economically. We just want to be able to follow the work. We want to be able to follow our patients, and we want to move along with our patients. That's all we want. That is the only issue. That is why we went on an unfair labor practice strike, because that is the only issue. It is not a wages thing. It's not a benefits thing. It never has been. It's all about taking care of our patients, and we really hope that the corporation sees this sooner rather than later, because it's pretty obvious that the community has already seen it.
Now, there was a rally last week.
Yes.
There was.
And we have some video from the rally. We're not going, the rally was, over an hour long, but we're
Yes.
just going to show about 5 minutes of it towards the end, because I think it gives an idea of what kind of support you have.
It was incredible.
It was amazing.
So,
That would be great. Yeah.
yeah, we'll show a few minutes, and then we'll talk. And if people want to call in with questions afterwards, feel free to.
Yes, please.
You want to be in there taking care of patients. That is what you do, as well as any hospital in the United States of America. The nurses and everybody out here are great healthcare providers, and I am so proud to be with you today. So proud to be with people who take care of other people when they need that care the most. There is no place for lockout. There is no place for lockouts, and I want to make sure that you are back on the job, providing the kind of health care that makes us proud, under conditions and terms that are fair to you. That's all you want, right? Is fairness and justice. And I believe we can do it. You should never feel that you are alone. I am with you. Connecticut is with you. America is with you. Keep the faith. Thank you so much. God bless you, and God bless America.
It says on all these signs, unfair labor practice strike. Now, what does that mean in English? Sorry, I'm a social studies teacher. It means that under the law, they did something they ought not do. And therefore, if they don't negotiate, we have no choice but to try to actually tell the community what's going on. That's what an unfair labor practice strike means. This is not a strike for wages, even though the wages should go up. This is a strike for one thing. And the mayor said this to me before. I was very taken by this. Everyone, and I grew up in a community like this. I grew up in Nyack and New City, New York. Nyack Hospital. Everyone in Nyack, my mother was a school teacher there for 30 years. Every person in Nyack was connected to the Nyack Hospital, one way or the other. Either was born there, had, God forbid, family members who had surgery there, who had passed there. Everybody was connected. That's what this hospital, LNN, had been. That's why we're all saying, I am LNN, you are LNN, we are LNN, because we're all connected to the proposition that the nurses work really hard, every single day, going well beyond what their technical ability is, to really be a soulmate, to be a spiritual connection, to help families in great time of stress and in great time of need. What the hospital does is to say, we are in the community to provide patient care, to heal the community, to be part of the community. That's what this hospital has always stood for. And that's why the nurses, the doctors, everyone go well and beyond. And that's why the hospital in New London have been the same. They have broken that covenant. They have broken that social contract. Frankly, most people in New London didn't know that. Most people in Connecticut didn't know that. Nobody wants to be on strike, but if you're not being fair at the negotiating table, what is a worker supposed to do? So, that's what it's about. It's about fairness. It's about quality care. It's about making sure that this hospital doesn't betray its promises to the New London community about when it says it is about care, that it has to mean it's about care. That is why the governor supports you. That is why your mayor is here every day. That is why Senator Blumenthal supports you. That is why you have the support of the community, because this is the community. And we will, Melanie, the AFT, we will do, and I want you to hear me, we will do everything we can to support these nurses every day of the week. We will fight for what's right. We will fight for good patient care. We will fight for these nurses. And I just ask you one thing. Stay together with us. All of us. So when I say, I am L&M, I want you to say, no, we are L&M. So I'm going to do it. I am L&M. No, we are L&M. 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 Thank you,
I really do care.
Mike's up.
Okay, welcome back to Thinking Green. I am here with Lisa Dubrowska and Stephanie Johnson, who are presidents, respectively, of the RN local of AFT and the tech.
LPN
local.
Tech.
So, and I guess we've been seeing, I mean, the newspapers must love it, but we're seeing like one-page ads that the hospital is putting out, and, you know, and they have a lot of facts and figures on the ad.
They're
I'd be
not-
happy to tell you.
Are they
They're-
facts and figures?
They're not facts and figures, they're figments of their imagination, but I'll let Lisa explain that.
Yeah,
Okay.
my first thought when I saw the ad that the nurses make $100,000 is that I need to get myself to payroll, and because somebody owes me something. And I work full time, and I'm almost at the top of the pay scale, and I don't make anywhere near that amount of money. And it says in the article, it says before benefits, and
Yeah, when I
that's
saw the
completely untrue.
100,000, I thought maybe after benefits, because benefits typically are
Yeah, benefits are
25
very
to
expensive.
30% of your total cost of an employee.
Right.
But it said before benefits.
Right, and that's further lies because the percentage of the workforce, actually, the RNs at L&M have a very strange setup, where instead of being a majority of the workforce being full-time, actually the majority of the workforce is part-time. And we run somewhere around a 70-30, 65-35 split to full-time employees to part-time employees. Excuse me, to full-time employees to part-time employees.
Yeah.
So I would love to know what part-time employee is making $100,000 a year, because I'm clearly in the wrong business.
And they have the techs at 86,000, and I am full-time. I also work nights, so I enjoy the fine benefit of shift differential that we have negotiated, and I do not make $86,000 either. My grandfather said to me the other day, "You make $86,000? Can Papa borrow some from you?" I was like, I wish I did. So, you know, it's kind of funny that they put out the wages, and they did that because they were really trying to drive a wedge, because they saw what was happening with the connection with the community with us, and they figured they'd pit them against us for making more money. You know, the jobs that the nurses hold, they require degrees, and you know, they range from an associate's to a master's. So, you know, of course we do make a fair salary. As we said, we believe that we can come to agreement on things like wages and things like that. This has not been about money for us. But you're not going to see us counter with, you know, the top 10 salaries of all of Bruce and his friends, because you already know that they make a lot of money. And I guarantee you that we're not making the six figures, they are. And, you know, it just, we're taking the high road on that one.
At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter.
No.
It doesn't really matter what they make. I'm not going to sit here and begrudge anybody of anything,
Nope.
but it seems like the hospital is actually trying to get the community to begrudge us of our fictitious inflated salaries. And it's unfortunate. It really is. I mean, ever since we called for the strike vote and actually went on strike, the hospital has sort of shifted gears, even more so, and now they're running a campaign of fear. They are trying to get the community to turn against us by overinflating our salaries and trying to make us look bad in the eye of the public. And so far, I don't think that it seems to be working. And also, they're trying to scare the employees. They're using basic union busting 101 scare tactics. It's kind of comical, actually. If you've read anything about union busting, you'll see, you know, step 1 is this, step 2 is that, step 3 is the other. We can almost predict what tomorrow and the
So
day
we're like,
after is going to
"Ooh,
bring.
tomorrow's going to be chaos." Okay.
Yeah,
Next day will
so-
be confusion. Today they're going to love us. You know, we're hip to this game, and
We're hip to this game.
thankfully our members are
I was going to
also-
ask, I know that you two would know what to expect, but
Well,
you represent between you about 700 people. So has the education piece been able to get out to
you know, I have to
everyone out
say,
there?
I have to say thank you to Mark Zuckerberg for making Facebook, because it has been just
Even if he's gone kind of
it's
evil
been,
in a way.
and that's
That's
fine.
fine.
He planted the seed, and that's good. But you know, we have on our website, on our Facebook page, we have the video from a union buster that walks you through and tells you exactly what you do and why you do it. And it's akin to an abusive relationship. And,
Yes,
you know,
it is.
I want to tell Bruce, you're not going to beat me. And I'm not going to take it. So,
Well, knowing what to expect is really the best
And
weapon,
it's-
I imagine.
it absolutely
because
is.
It's, then you see it's a strategy,
You know,
and
they-
it isn't real.
What he's doing is he's sending letters after letters after. I mean, we've worked for this man since 2005, and I think in the last week I've received more mail from him than I ever have It's just ridiculous. And our members are now starting to send the letters back, return to sender, because they're sick of it. They're sick of hearing the threats, the scare tactics. They're not falling for it. So I think I'm very impressed with our membership for understanding exactly what's going on, number one, but also saying that they're not going to take it. They're not going to stand for it. And that's one thing that this administration needs to understand, that we are not scared women. We are strong women, and we lead strong women and men, and we're not going to tolerate this nonsense anymore. This is about an issue that we need to solve, and once we solve this issue, we can get back to the business of patient care, which is what this hospital should be about.
I know after I saw the $100,000, I did look on the internet to see what typical wages were in Connecticut, and I doubt that Lawrence Memorial is the highest paid hospital in the state.
Not even
I'm
close.
guessing that Fairfield County, has higher wages.
Dr. Hayes on line one.
And we have a phone call, but just wait, hold on 1 second. Yes, so but yeah, it said that the typical wage for RNs was about 70 to 75,000, and for LPNs was about 55,000. So I don't know if that's
And that's
in
before taxes
alignment-
as well.
Yeah,
you
in
also have to
alignment with
remember
what you've
that
experienced.
I have a pay range that starts at about $17 and can go to about $50. And that's because of all the different jobs that are involved in my union.
that's
so,
true.
The LPNs,
And the qualifications are
the
equally
qualifications, the
spread out.
certifications, and these are certifications that the hospital mandates that we have. So,
Okay, we'll take our phone call. Hi, thanks for calling in.
Hi, I have a question for you all.
Okay.
The question is, if one wants to contribute to a strike fund or whatever, how does one do that? Where does it get sent and made out to whom?
Well,
And I'll listen.
First of all, thank you so very much
Thank you.
for calling and wanting to give us money and donate and give us support. It's always nice to hear calls like that. We have a website. It's called IamLandM.org, and I'll spell that. I is in India, A is in Alpha, M is in Mike, L is in Lima, A is in Alpha, N is in Nancy, D is in Delta, M is in Mike.org. And if you go there, that will give you all of the information that you need. And thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for calling.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
now.
And this call brings to mind a question. What have you heard from physicians at the hospital?
I think the physicians are kind of in a strange position right now because they find themselves to be employees now that the hospital has bought up all of their practices. So they kind of have to walk a line. We have had an incredible amount of support. We've had some physicians walk the line with us.
We've seen a couple letters to the editor.
Yeah, they've written, Dr. Frazier wrote a beautiful letter to the editor the other day about how, we're the A team and the scabs are the B team, and we really appreciated that. They've been stopping by the line. They've been buying us coffee. They've been buying us pizza. They've been buying us food. Just to show the support. They're not speaking to the scabs when they're there because they want their team back. And, we love the doctors for that. We'd like to see more of them address the board and Bruce to let them know how much they want the team back. But, we're very appreciative of the support that we've gotten from the physicians.
And it is true that things have changed for them a lot, to a great
Absolutely.
extent, too.
They're
That
now
so
just
many
higher
of
paid
them
us.
are hospital employees.
Absolutely.
And, of course, because they're not union, they don't have protections.
Exactly. So they're finding out what it's like to be on the other side of the stick now, and it's not always fun being the person that has to do what the company wants you to do. And I think Mr. Cummings is going to find out that he doesn't have as many company men as he thought he did when we do come back, because the doctors, like I said, they've been really very supportive of us, and they're coming out publicly to be supportive of us.
Now, you had mentioned something earlier about, they might think you're weak women, but you're strong women. How much do you think that your gender has to do with how your union is being treated?
Which one of us wants to take that one? Shall I take that one?
I think we can share.
We play off of each other very well. So a couple of weeks ago, An email was sent out to the entire hospital. And in this email, Bruce Cummings decided that he was going to have one of his long chats with us, which, you know, most of us just hit delete. But being leadership, we have to read it. And he insinuated that this entire thing that we're doing with the job security is A, fictitious, and B, something that's made up by our field rep, Greg Katecki, and by the president of the healthcare union,
Who's
Harry
not involved
Rodriguez,
in current negotiations.
whose
His
contract is up
not-
in 2015, has nothing to do with this. So the suggestion was that Lisa and I were their pawns or their puppets, and you know, they just put their hand in their back and they say, Lisa talk, Stephanie talk, and then we took the lives of 800 people out on the street and put them on strike because of an issue that was ridiculous. I found that to be so insulting. I am, and I'll tell my age, I am 44 years old. I am a single mother. I have 2 young men that I am raising. I am a lot of things. Weak is not one, puppet is not another. Nobody tells me what to do. All right, my 11-year-old may try to tell me what to do, but nobody tells me what to do. My grandfather tells me what to do, but that's it. You know, I was very insulted, as was my membership, which is primarily female. And I'll let you take it from there.
I think, or I know, I should say, what the hospital effectively did, or Bruce Cummings effectively did in that, is what's known as third-partying the union. And it's kind of, we see that oftentimes in government. When something goes wrong, you want someone to blame. So you want to blame the government, you want to blame the union,
Right.
even though you want to blame the governor, you want to blame someone. And if the union membership somehow third parties the union leadership, there's division there, and that's also another union busting tactic. So what we see here happening is that Bruce is trying to get the membership of the union to not realize that they are all the power, and the power of the people is in their hand and their voices. And he's trying to say that these 2 men, that Greg is not a member of the hospital and Harry is not a member of the bargaining unit, that these 2 outsiders are coming and telling us what to do. And I think also it helps them sleep at night to think that the executive board and the bargaining team, which constitutes approximately 10 of us, that we're just the radical yahoos that want to take everybody on strike and you know, burn the place down for whatever reason. And really, in actuality, it's 800 nurses and LPN techs that really have the voice, and that's really bothersome and irksome to our CEO.
And the one thing that he does need to understand is that we didn't tell people to go out on strike. They told us they were going out on strike. So there's a difference in the way that's, you know, we just did what our membership told us. They weren't going to stand for the deal that was put out. They weren't accepting it. And our only option at that time was to do the strike. That was not something that any of us wanted to do. We would have loved to have worked this out long before we even got to this point, and we gave them every opportunity. I think we've had maybe, I want to say maybe 7 or 8 proposals going back and forth regarding this where we've given and they've not, you know. So we're moving and they're not moving, and it does take 2 in this relationship, and they're not willing to yield off of their position. So now we have to take the position that we're not either.
And being able to follow the work is actually something that's pretty non-negotiable, I'd imagine.
I wouldn't think that it would
Yeah.
be non-negotiable.
Well-
Us not being able to,
Yeah.
For us, no, we wouldn't
There's
accept that.
I think I can sum it up, actually. In the beginning and all throughout this conversation, you heard me say that this practice is illegal. And we went on the unfair labor practice strike to protest the illegality, if that's even a word, of this practice.
It is now.
It is now. Now, to protest the fact that they were engaging in this illegal behavior. So what we want to do is we want to not. We can take this issue away from the table and we can move on. And here's how. Again, we talked about the legality. We talked about the labor board. We talked about the fact that the hospital has been indicted and waiting for sentencing. We just want to let the government do its job. Let the judicial system do its job. We are okay taking a step back from this. And one of our proposals entailed just let the judge decide. Let the case go forward.
This, yeah.
This one
Let the
piece.
case go forward.
We'll finish the
One
rest.
piece.
And have that piece go forward after you get the ruling.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We even
Put a
said that
moratorium on the work.
we even said we wouldn't appeal it. We even said we would live with what the ALJ said. We would not appeal it. And they still wouldn't take it. You know why? Because they know they're going to lose. They know they're going to lose. And
They've already
So
had-
this is their window of opportunity, really?
Yes.
Yes.
They've already made it very clear that they have certain departments that are slated to move over to LMMG, their shell corporation, as you will. These certain departments are slated to move and lay off the current bargaining unit employees and have new employees come in. And we've been hearing about this for a while. It's the Joslin Diabetes Center, the Infectious Disease Center, or clinic, occupational health, employee health, just to name a few. And we've always known that they've had that intent, but today we looked on the website, actually, and they've already moved that information over on the website, where it says that these services fall under the auspices of LMNOP, or whatever they're calling it this week,
'Cause it
and that they've
changes.
taken it away from the auspices of the hospital. So they've clearly had this plan in place, and there's no stopping them. And they're not going to be even willing to wait until the judge makes his decision. And that's all we really want, is just let the judge decide.
Well, you know, I see some parallels in the move in education to create charter schools to replace public schools. And part of the issue is also that it's much easier not to have a union in the charter schools that are more private, that are, you know, don't already have a strong union in place. Well, we have about 5 minutes left, so why don't you maybe expand on what you said before about how people can help or support you as individuals or your cause?
Absolutely. We're more than happy to have the community, families, dogs, come on down to the line. If you have questions about it, we're more than happy to talk to you about it. And not only will the executive board talk to you, our membership will talk to you. And chances are you know somebody who's on that line. Somebody on that line has touched your life, has helped you, has been kind to you when you needed it most, has been there. So, you know, we ask people to come down. We're there 24/7. It's been cold, it's been wet, it's been
You've
fun.
had a little of
And everything
everything.
but nice and warm and sunny.
Yeah.
We have had everything but nice and warm and sunny, absolutely. And, you know, it would be lovely to have the community come down and stand with us and show the corporation. When we had our rally, we had 1,000 people on Montauk Avenue. The police had
Yeah.
to shut down Montauk Avenue. When
And they were very supportive.
the police?
Yeah.
Yes, they
Absolutely.
have been. Our union brothers.
In fact, I have to interrupt you just
sure.
to interject this and say thank you to them.
Yes.
The day of the rally, the union, the New London Police Union, actually donated the officers and the officer's salary to be there for the rally. So we really want to thank them and give
Absolutely.
them, you know,
The following
credit where
night
it's due.
after the rally, when we were going to do our return to work, we then again had about 600 people on the street at 11 o'clock.
Wow.
And we shut down Montauk Avenue again. So we're getting, and it wasn't just all members. We had members from the community. We've had all of the city and state legislators. We can't thank them enough for their support. You know, you can, like Lisa said, you can go to iamlnm.org.
I was just
You
gonna
can make
ask
a
you.
donation to help some of our members who are going to have a difficult time. It's heating season. You know, we don't have a great deal of resources. People wonder why we don't have a strike fund. It's because we're an AFT, which is American Federations of Teachers, and the teachers aren't allowed to strike, so that's why we don't have a strike fund.
Oh, wow. We have one more call. I have to warn the caller, you have about 1 minute. Hi, thanks for calling.
Hi, I think it's a great thing that you're doing, and I wish that my department could join the union. We are grossly understaffed, and our managers don't even put in 40 hours and just keep dumping on us and dumping on us. Our salaries are capped. They refuse to go up. It's just, I've called many hospitals to compare, you know, bodies, and I've been told by many other hospitals that we're grossly abused. It's just a terrible thing that they keep doing to us.
Well, I'm really sorry to hear that, and thank you for your support.
Yeah.
Certainly, if your department would like to organize, we're the girls to see.
We can help you with that.
But I want to thank you. I appreciate your hard work. I'm not sure which department you work in, but I know that every rank and file employee at the hospital has a lot of value and adds a lot of value to the hospital. So no matter what department you're working in, thank you, because your work is important and you are contributing to patient care as well.
Absolutely.
Thank
Good
you
luck.
for calling.
Thank you.
Well, we're down to our last minute or so.
Okay.
So, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for having us.
It was fun. It went pretty fast.
It did.
It did go fast. We didn't get to cover all the topics. It's okay.
And we're going to end up with a little bit of a public service announcement, 30 seconds, that you might be seeing on public television stations here in Groton.
Let's recognize
And
all our
also-
caregivers at Lawrence Memorial. They deserve our support and the respect of their employees.
I believe that community hospitals should give back to the community and not just take.
It's time for the corporation that benefits from our community to support our community and its nurses, caregivers, and healthcare professionals.
I'm L&M. I am L&M. I'm L&M.
Stand with our nurses, caregivers, and healthcare workers today.
Oh, okay. Thanks to both of you, Lisa and Stephanie. Good luck. Next week, our guest will be Bill Warnow. He'll talk about heifer. So we'll talk about good deeds in a whole different front. So thank you and good luck, and we'll see you on Montauk, and hopefully you'll get in the room sitting down soon.
Hopefully.
Thank you.
Jessica, she really hit the road down. You check it out. She used to have a road down now, but there you go. It's not again now. You never know. She's going on a train, yeah. So sad. She's having a bad time. Too bad. She's having a bad time. One tear.